Hey, it's Dr. Thornell with New England Family Chiropractic, and I wanted to share with you today a stretch that's called a couch stretch. And this is another in a group of stretches aimed at stretching the hip flexor muscles, which include the psoas and the quads. And what happens is when those muscles get exceptionally tight, they pull the top part of your pelvis forward, and if I am then to stand up straight, it gives me an exaggerated curvature in my lower back, which eventually leads to joints having chronic pressure on them, and it starts to create some pain. So what I do in a compensation for that is I start to bend at the waist and give in to those tight muscles, which then puts my head out in front of me, makes my entire posture terrible, takes the way that I carry myself against gravity, makes it something abnormal, and we all know that when we work against gravity, things are much tougher. So we use more energy, our muscles get fatigued, we have a lot of muscle ache, tightness, that sort of thing. So we're going to work today on an additional way to stretch those hip flexors that includes the psoas and the quadricep muscle that we're calling the couch stretch. So what you're going to do, the original psoas, or one of the original psoas stretches looks like this, where we're simply on our back knee. So in this case, we're stretching the left psoas muscle. The goal here would be to lean forward, pushing that hip forward, and then I want to lean with my waist, bending to the right, to the opposite side, and further stretch that psoas muscle, which is a great stretch and does a lot of good work. What it leaves out is the quad muscles that come up and also attach up into the front part of the pelvis that want to pull that like that. So we're gonna stretch this quad and the psoas at the same time. So the reason we call this the couch stretch is you can put your foot up onto a couch or a chair, something behind you, to give you some stretch in the quadricep. We want this to come up as high as we can get it comfortably and still go through the stretch. So for some of you, that might be just leaving it on the ground. For some of you, it might be putting it up on something low like this. It might be way up onto a couch. Or if you don't have any of that, you can hang on to it if you have that sort of flexibility. You can hang on to that foot. Some people even grab it with both hands. My arms just simply aren't long enough to do that, I see. That's my excuse, that's what I said. So what we want to do is once we get into this position, we're going to lunge with that left hip forward. I'm going to pull my foot towards my rear end, and then once I get a nice stretch here, I want to lean to the right side, bending at the waist. Deep breath, and as I exhale, I'm going to pull with the foot. I'm going to push the hip further forward, and I want to lean further to the right. So breath in, exhale, and relax. And with all stretches, even though one side might be tighter than the other, we always want to do both. So what I always try to tell people, 3 sets of 3 breaths should be sufficient, and we don't have to, you never have to spend a half an hour in any one group stretching. We just need to have that consistency. So 3 sets of 3 breaths gives us a couple of minutes of active stretch into those muscles each day, or even every other day. If you're somebody that has a difficult time standing up after sitting for a while, you get out of the car, you get out of your chair, and those first 4 or 5 steps are really uncomfortable, you're somebody who has tight hip flexors, and this is a stretch you need to add to your routine.